Kevin, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, good morning, Ken. How are you?
Good, Kevin. How are you, sir?
Doing well.
Good.
Hey, I've been in law enforcement over a decade. Started out in local law enforcement and then transferred to federal law enforcement. I've been in that for a few years.
Okay.
And pay is much better than local law enforcement, but just due to the political nature of the federal law enforcement, the toxic management and culture that it breeds, I've been contemplating speaking with a wife about moving back into local law enforcement. The only bad thing is that would be about a $70,000 pay cut.
Whoa. Okay. We haven't told the wife about this yet, have we?
Oh, we've spoke about it.
How did she react when you hit her with the $70,000 hit?
Well, we are in baby steps 4, 5, and 6.
Good.
And if we left the area that we would move to, we'd have $250K to be able to put down on a house. So financially, it wouldn't be too bad of a burden, but it is a huge change of lifestyle.
And keep going. I'm thrilled we've had this conversation. How does she feel about it? I want to know what she feels about it. Once we talked about moving to another location, we're going to put a big chunk down on a house. Cost of living's a whole lot less. However, you're not bringing in as much. How does she feel about that change in lifestyle?
She is fine with the area. She would love the area that we'd move to. Currently hates where we live.
Right.
She can see how stressful the job is, and the issues that are surrounding the job here. Really doesn't like the entity that I currently work for.
Yeah.
But she still has the worries about how local law enforcement is going right now with the current social movements and everything.
How do you feel about it?
I'm okay with it. I got on law enforcement, grew up with, in a bad domestic violence family, moved into law enforcement because of that. But whenever I moved to federal, it went from, seeing that you can make an effect and help people to, an agency that's worried about statistics more than actually making a difference.
So this is a great snapshot. Thanks for sharing all that. What's your question for me? How can I help you? Because I want us to dive in and figure out what it is you called me about. What's really the reason you called?
To go from what would be seen as top tier in your career, being in federal law enforcement, and returning to local law enforcement and taking that, at the beginning, a huge, significant pay cut.
Mm-hmm.
Is that stupid to think about?
Let me reframe it. Okay, so here, I'm going to answer your question by asking you a question. And thank you for being vulnerable. By the way, before we go any further, thank you for your service. Thank you for serving. To protect and serve is as noble as a type of work as there can be. So thank you. You're a great American.
Thanks, sir.
Here's the question. I'm going to reframe the question you just asked me. Should I go from a job that gives me tremendous mental and emotional stress, puts my life on the line on a regular basis? I don't love it. My wife doesn't love it. We hate where we live. Should I go from that to moving to a job that I have more connection to in a place that we really enjoy? Is that stupid to do that? What's the answer?
Those dollar signs make it hard to answer that.
But see, you changed the question. I didn't talk about dollar signs. I just framed it that way. I want you to answer it that way. We're not going to forget the money. I'm not in any way minimizing the money. But what's your emotional answer to that emotional question?
I'd be so much happier.
Okay.
She would be so much happier too.
Okay. Now, I promised you I wasn't going to forget about money, but thank you for answering honestly. So it's a no-brainer emotionally, is it not?
Yes.
All right. Now we got to figure out the financial. Okay. Is the $70,000 hit, you mentioned something earlier that made me want to ask, how long would it be that way? Would you start to work your way back up, and how long would that take? And then where would you cap out to where now we go, this is the long-term difference in income?
It would probably take 10 years, 10 to 15 years to hit 100.
All right, so forget that. You would go from what to what?
120 to 50.
Okay. So what would be the number, if I could wave my Ken Coleman Show pencil in the air and go poof, what would be the number that you would go, this is a no-brainer financially? If I made this amount of money, forget law enforcement, just we're going to move from where you are now to where you guys have identified, and emotionally it's a slam dunk, yes, we've already established that. Financially, what would make it a slam dunk?
$80,000.
Okay. So we got to come up with $30,000 above and beyond what the 50 is for moving back into local law enforcement. Okay.
Yeah.
I want you to forget law enforcement as the context. I want you to tell me what you love most about the law enforcement on the local level. You've been there before. Take me back. Forget that you're in law enforcement. Talk about the work. You think about an 8-hour day. What's the work that you love the most, that you just go, man, this fires my soul?
The autonomy of the work. Every day is not the same. No day is the same. You are on ground level, talking to people, getting to help people in their most vulnerable, terrible days that they'll have, and you get to show up and assist them and help them get through it.
Okay,
it may not be a long-term fix, but you can make a difference, or you can help someone at that point.
Okay, Kevin, that is absolutely freaking beautiful. Now, let me ask you a question. Can you think of 2 or 3 other things besides being a sheriff or local police officer that would allow you to have autonomy, a different schedule every day, and on the ground helping people, assisting people in their time of need?
Firefighter, paramedic, and nursing.
Ding, 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 ding. Seems like maybe you've thought about those things before. Yes or no?
Possibly.
Here's where I'm excited. I think that's what we ought to be thinking about, because that takes the last piece out of the wife, the concern your wife has too. Now, you certainly can get harmed on any job, right? And certainly firefighter can be very, very dangerous, obviously. But genuinely, you don't have people shooting at you, right? So
right.
I start to think about, wait a second, you like the autonomy. You like the different schedule each and every day. You've thought about all those things. I think the play is, what's the path that gets me? And by the way, I think you can make more than $50,000 in those jobs too. And I think
there's definitely career progression that would probably get me to $80,000 within 5 to 6 years.
That's my point. I'm asking you not to make a decision today, but I'm asking you if you could consider those things and go, wait a second, that gets me still a ladder. It gets me out of my current situation and sets me on a path towards a great situation long term. The other piece I would bring to the table, if I was sitting with you and your wife at your kitchen table, I would also be going, okay, look, we're going to have a better life from day one if we move and get out. Yes, less money. But is there a side business, a side hustle that you've always wanted to do? Something like that, where if you go, look, I've always wanted to start a landscape company, or I've wanted to do a little handyman business. I'm just making this stuff up, but I'm going, what are the other possibilities to where 80,000 and 100,000 aren't 5 to 7 years off?
Okay. Yeah, that makes right. So good thing about local is you can pick up, off-duty security gigs that'll pay you.
Dude, I got some friends here in Franklin. They make all kinds of money showing up at high school football games on Friday night, and directing church traffic is a big business in the Southeast, man. We got mega churches on every corner. These guys are making time and a half, I think, I could be wrong, being paid to direct traffic.
Yep.
Now we're going. Now we got the juice, Kevin. We got some ideas. Here's the thing. You and your wife got to sit down and eat. And listen, and I'm not trying to tell her that she needs to go to work outside the home or not. But we got to go, what must be true for us to make this move that we say is an emotional slam dunk? We need to do it. We want to do it. But what must be true for us to pad the economic change? That's it. This is called good old-fashioned brainstorming and looking for opportunities, Kevin. Do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
You got this. This call is over. It's time for you and the wife to have a nice romantic dinner, candlelight, steak, whatever, and let's dream together. This isn't a you decision. It isn't a her decision. This is a we decision. And when we're talking about quality of life, I can figure the money out. But if I'm miserable on the job and my wife is feeling not so safe and so good about it, and we don't like where we live, come on, man. How much money does it take to make up for those things? I got the answer. You ready? There is no amount. There is no amount of money that makes up for those things that we just established. There's not, there never will be.